Guys, I want to know if you could identify that ball flight, because it's going to help you get better at golf. Let's take a look at this lesson and find out why. So understanding what your ball flight is doing is going to be a massive help to you getting better at golf, because the amount of times I've had people come visit me here at Trafford Golf Centre, and when we're chatting about their game and what's happening and what they're seeing happen to the ball, sometimes it's not quite right. And if you can understand what your ball flight is, then you're going to be able to understand what the golf club is doing, because this little thing here doesn't care if you're Tiger Woods, Matt Fryer, Dave down at the range, whoever you may be. It can't lie. It only knows what this thing tells it. So if we understand what this is telling it and why, because we can see the ball flight, we're going to be able to understand our golf swing and ultimately get better. So let's take a look at 9 shots and tell you what the club is doing to help you understand your golf swing. So the most common one that we're going to see is the slice shot, and this is what a slice shot would look like. And the slice there is something where the ball is starting left of our target and moving to the right hand side and finishing right of the target. Now this is all for a right hander, by the way. If you're a left hander, just flip these explanations on their head. But what would happen with that is something where, as we see the club coming into the golf ball, the face would actually be slightly closed to the target, so we see that pointing just left of the line, and then the club would be moving even further left of that line, which results in the club face being open to the path. So we've got a face that is closed to the target but open to the path, and ultimately that would send the ball off down the left hand side of the target. It would curve and then it would finish a variant of degrees right of the target. It might be a 1-yard slice, it might be a 50-yard slice, but the big thing to note when we're hitting the slice for the right hander, the face is open to the path is moving left of the target, but the club face is actually close to target still but open to that path. So let's look at the opposite of the slice, which is the hook shot. Okay, so the hook shot, if you're already starting to understand face and path, like I said earlier, we're just going to flip this on the head. The hook shot is something that starts right of our target and then finishes left of our target. Now it's actually funny because you could hit maybe a 1-yard hook, but you could hit a 50-yard draw. The big thing is where the ball starts and finishes when we're identifying these shots. So the hook starts right of target and finishes left of target. And like the slice, what we would see when we look at these images now is that as the club's coming in, the face is actually pointing right of the black line as we go through, but the club is traveling even further right of that. So that leads to the face being slightly open to the target, but it's actually closed to the path, the direction the club head is swinging in, which then tilts the axis of the ball and makes that ball curve back towards the target and then pass it and finish left of it for a hook shot. Okay, now we're going to move on to the push shot. Now the push shot generally is a very straight shot, one that starts right of target and finishes right of target. The ball does not curve in the air. What we would see is something a little bit just like this one. Great push. So with that one, when we look at what the club is doing to the golf ball, as it comes in, we would have the club passing a little bit right of the target line, with the face also passing at the same point. So if we looked on something like a TrackMan or a Flight Scope, we would probably see that we would read numbers where the path is 2 degrees right and the face is 2 degrees right, so they match, and that results in that straight shot that starts right of target and finishes right of target. Okay, so let's look at the pull shot. And just by the way, guys, these are all relative to a centered strike. If we have toe and heel strikes, we're going to see different effects on the golf ball, but this is all for if you're hitting it out the middle. So the pull shot, again, just like the hook and the slice, it's the opposite of what we would see from the from the push shot. So with the pull shot, what we get is something where the ball flies dead straight but it starts left of target and it finishes left of target. That is because as that club is now coming in relative to our target line, it's traveling a little bit left with the face looking in the same direction, i.e. 2 degrees left of club path and 2 degrees left with face to target, so it's 0 to its path. And what we see then is that we get that nice straight flight, but it's finishing left of the target. It might be 1 yard, it might be 30 yards, but the big thing is the push and the pull have no curvature on them whatsoever. Now this one is these next two in fact are a little bit more uncommon. What these are a blend of those first 4 ball flights we've talked about, so we can get something where we hit a push slice. So in that push slice, what we can see now from the club head is actually that the club is traveling right of the target, but the face is looking even further right of where that club head is traveling. So we might see that on a TrackMan or a flight scope, the path is 2 degrees right, but the face is 3 degrees right of the target, leading it to be 1 degree open of our path. So the ball would start right and curve even further to the right. It's not your traditional slice, but it's one that we do see quite a bit. So again, opposite to that, we're going to see the pull hook, and this flight would generally really dive down at the ground very quickly. It's not going to get up in the air, but what we're going to see is something where it starts left of target and goes even further left of target from there. So on that swing there, as we look at the board coming in, what we would see is now that the club head is traveling left of that target line, but the face is even further left again, very much like the slice one we've just seen, but we're seeing that that face is closed to the path excessively, which is causing that ball to start left and go even further left. Like I say, it's normally a very diving flight, so we would see that one. Okay guys, if you're enjoying this video as well and these are helping you understand your ball flight, do smash that subscribe button for me down below and hit the thumbs up if it is helping you. Like I say, if you understand your ball flights, you'll understand your golf swing, ultimately you're going to get better, and that's what I want you to do. Hit that subscribe button. We're getting to the juicy ones now. Let's talk straight, let's talk fade, let's talk draw. So, the one that almost gets a little bit of shade thrown on it sometimes is the fade shot. Now, if we look out on tour, we will see a lot of players hitting this shot, and then it's not too far away from the slice. What we will see is that there's very little movement on it generally from the pros, but we might hit, like I said earlier, a fade that is 30-40 yards. The big thing with the fade and the draws is that they finish on our target line. So, for a fade, what we would see is a flight just like this one. Oh no, he's got it. Okay, so the fade, beautiful little flight. What we would see relative to the target line, the face is going to be just closed ever so slightly, and then the path, the direction the club is actually swinging will be a little bit further left of that for the right-handed player. So on a TrackMan flight scope, GC2, whatever it may be, we might see something where the face is 1 degree left of target, the path is 2 degrees left of target, which means the face is 1 degree right of the path. You'll find to hit like the perfect fade, they have to be 50-50. We will see then that we get that little ball flight that peels back towards the target. It starts left of the target but has to finish on target to be a fade. Let's take a look at the draw. Okay, the draw, let's take a look at what that one looks like. Okay, just like the fade there, the draw has to finish on target, but what we're going to see for the right-handed player is it starts a little bit right, but then it peels back left and finishes just on that target. And we would see something where the face, as we're hitting the draw, is slightly open to the target, but the club head is passing a little bit further to the right of where the face is pointing, meaning the face is closed to that target, to the path of the club, which results in that little shape back towards target and hitting that beautiful little draw shot. Let's take a look at the straight one, the one we all want to hit, and see how we would do that. So the straight one, hopefully by now you're starting to understand it's all about that relationship between the path and the club face. If we control the club face and then try and control the club path, we should be able to ultimately control our ball flight. So with the straight one, what we're going to want to try and see, you guessed it, just like the push and the pull, the face and the path have to match if we've got that centered strike. So ideally, if we were robots, we'd be looking for 0-0 numbers on the flight scopes and the GC quads and things like that. But what we ultimately want to try and do is feel that we're coming in very neutral, not getting the face looking right or left of the target and the club swinging across the target. We're going to feel that the club is basically working straight through the target line for that very small amount of time. So this is what a straight one would look like. Oh, lovely. And that is a beautiful little straight shot. So I hope that has helped you cleared up what type of ball flight you are hitting. Like I said earlier, if you can understand them, you're going to understand your swing a lot better. Ultimately, you're going to get better at the game. And one thing I would do when you're out on the golf course or at the driving range, try and hit all the shots. Even if you are a bit of a slicer of a golf ball, if you now understand what you've got to do to hit a draw, try it, see how you get on. Then you're starting to control the club. Ultimately, then you're controlling the golf ball. Guys, give it a go. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash that subscribe button for me. See you in the next lesson when hopefully you're working the ball however you want.